How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. We got this here front-mounted receiver hitch for the XJ. We'll go ahead and try to put it in today and see what's up. It's pretty straightforward, but there are some kind of weird things you got to do. Drill holes in the frame and then fish wires through the frame to pull bolts through. I don't know. We'll just give it a shot and see how it goes. So this is the hitch itself, or the receiver. It's a Curt. There's the info on it. At the time, this was the cheapest one that was available. That's the number 31084. And you can kind of see right here, it's got like this little dog leg, like kick up deal. So that follows the contour of the frame stub in the front of the XJ there. And these holes right here are for the sway bar, like mount or whatever. So this mounts up where the sway bar goes. Somewhere, I guess we're going to have to drill a hole right there for a bolt to fish through the frame, according to the instructions. Well, here's the paperwork it came with. 84 to 01 Cherokee, 31084, so we have the right hitch. There's kind of the breakdown. There is how it, basically mounts up to the sway bar link or mount or whatever, and then we space it off of the frame with these 1/2-inch spacers here. This tells you about like the fish wire thing and how you gotta try to drill your hole and then kind of, I don't know, wind the wire around this little plate and the bolt and fish it through. I don't know how that's all going to work. We're just going to have to see. It sounds kind of weird and cramped. To mount up the hitch, it's pretty straightforward. It just, bolts right into place. But I will have to cut a hole, like right in the center here of this little fascia or whatever you call this thing right here, so that the receiver end can stick out. All right, so up underneath the Jeep, we got this bracket right here, which holds up the fender flares and mounts the front fascia with these little rivets right here. So these areas here, this kind of bracket flares down, it's like broke over on a 90. Those have to be flattened out. They're probably, I don't know, 1/4 inch or something like that right there. So that has to be flattened, and then that has to be flattened. Then we have to take down this bracket. I do have some new bushings for the sway bar and for the end links, so I'll just go ahead and put those things in while I'm here too. But yeah, so we have to hammer these things flat on both sides. I will zip off these sway bar end links. So here are the top bushings from the sway bar end links. You can tell they're completely wasted. So I just got some brand new links right here. Looks like rubber bushings, and then I don't know what this one is. Poly? I don't know. They feel like rubber, but they just look a little different. Whatever. Got some brand new ones, so that's nice to replace those. And then I got these also. They're 1-inch diameter for the 1-inch sway bar. These go to the frame, the bracket or whatever for the sway bar that goes onto the frame stubs. If you saw any of the other Jeep videos, you might have noticed I didn't have the right ones before, so I just wrapped the sway bar in a bunch of electrical tape to take up the slack until I could get around to this. So now we've got all of the bushings and everything ready to go. So we'll just drop the sway bar out and get to installing the hitch. There we go, it's out. I don't know if you can tell or not, but these are pretty much wasted. So there's all my electrical tape that I used because my bushings are completely destroyed. There are different sizes apparently, because the ones that I got last time were like 1.25 inches or something. I'm not entirely sure, but they weren't the right size. So maybe, I'm not a Jeep expert or anything, but maybe take a look and make sure that you're getting the right ones. Got these bracket bolts here. I went ahead and spun these things back in so I don't kick them underneath the truck. But we'll just take this one off. I'm pretty sure that it has to come off anyway, because I think that the hitch pinches this thing against the truck. Alright, so we're going to get a feel for how this thing goes up into place. Just kind of maneuver that thing in there. And there we go. That's going to be how it is. That'll allow me to take some measurements and know where to cut this front fascia and get an idea. This bolt hole right here, which I don't know if you can see or not, that's where we're going to have to drill into our frame and fish that larger bolt up in it. So I'll just go ahead and get my paint marker and mark off basically where I want to cut this. We've got a little bit of an ice slash snowstorm coming in, so you'll probably hear that on the roof. If you hear that crackly noise, that's just all of the ice hitting the roof. Metal roofs, that's just how it is. Can't do anything about it. But right here, we've got our marks from center, so it's basically center right there on those two bolts. I drew a couple of straight lines going down there. Got a hole saw right here, so I'm going to just try to drill a couple of holes to give us a radius corner. I don't know if that'll clear it or not, but we're just going to have to see. Just try to make it look a little bit nicer. So then I'll just get a Sawzall and cut straight down. See, my drill bit's bent. Oh well. I believe it might have to be a little bit larger, so I might have to come over and come down a little bit more. But hopefully this will work out just the way that it is. There we go. I have an actual body saw that's way easier to use, but I can't find any of the blades for it right now. It might not be wide enough, but we'll just figure that out after I can install it in there. But other than that, I clean it up with a flap disc on the side a little bit. I think it'll be good. I thought this was pretty funny. Install time 30 minutes. Remove the skid pan, cut the fascia, drill the hole in the frame, use the fish wire, fish the bolt up through it. Very optimistic over there at Curt. Alright, so once you push this thing up into place, you can see there's a hole right there. Maybe you can't see. Anyway, there's a hole right there in the front. That has to be drilled out in the frame and a bolt fished up into it through an access hole in the side of the frame, which I'll show you in a second. And then that's where the mounting bolt goes for the back. Actually, it's got to go forward a little bit so that this side right here will clear, so keep an eye on that, because it will actually go back too far, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Alright, here's another problem. Now, they say that Curt says that there's an access hole back here on the frame rail or on the side. I've seen a thing online where they say you can go in through that little hole right there and fish this little block up through it. But there aren't any access holes anywhere on the frame, and the frame is actually capped off in the front there, so it's not like a tube that you can pull the bumper off and fish something through it. There's actually nothing there, so it's just got those holes. The main issue is this thing. So this is a carriage bolt. You can see it's got like that flat shoulder on it right there. Alright, so that thing is supposed to go in there and lock that in so it can't turn. And what this flat plate does is drop into the frame rail like this. Well, it's upside down, but kind of get an idea, right? There's no way for you to get a socket or anything on the top of this or a wrench to hold this bolt in place, even if it was just a standard bolt. So they're using this plate so it can't turn in there. So once you start tightening it, this thing will just kind of turn into the frame and lock itself in, and then you can tighten up this bolt. Well, the issue is the plate is way too big to fit in any of the holes, so you can't get this plate to drop down into here. And there aren't any holes anywhere on the frame that would allow me to drop that little plate down in it. So essentially, unless we trim this plate, there is no way to tighten a bolt on the front of this thing. So it has to actually be trimmed down on the sides so it will drop down through there. So that's probably, I don't know, 3/16 minimum clearance that it needs. Probably a 1/4 inch would be better. So you're going to have to grind these things off for them to drop down in there. Well, I waited my whole life for a mill, so that's what we're going to use. You can use a grinder or basically any other thing that you want to, but this will be way easier All right, well, they should work now. Yep, they'll drop right in. So we have to mount the hitch up, you know, so that we can drill the hole right here for it. And also, I have to cut more of a relief here for the hitch itself because it's binding up right there. All right, I'm going to try something a little different. I put a 3/8 end mill in the end of the drill. These are super sharp, so I should be able just to slot this thing over just with a drill. All right, yeah, they're about even. So that should be straight. Now right here, we got to drill up for these holes. And then we should be mostly done. This isn't far enough here, so it actually has to go a little bit more. And this probably has to be cut out so that our little chain loops will fit. So we got to cut a bunch of this stuff out here too. I didn't really want to take this thing all the way off, but it needs some pretty heavy modifications. But I think it'll be all right. If you ever seen one of these spring-loaded punches, these things are super great. Made in the USA. Awesome little punches. I think they're just called spring punches or whatever. I don't know. Look them up on Amazon. These things are way better than the little push-in type. All right, well, I don't know where we left off. I got that phone call, but I did paint this. This is a weld-through primer. It does have zinc and copper and stuff in it, so I squished it around up in there. It's dry now, so we shouldn't have any issues with corrosion, at least right there. It's better than bare metal, so I'll give it that much. So now we just have to take this fish wire and try to fish it up through one of these holes and then out through here. And we'll see how that goes. All right, well, I'm going to try to do this one-handed with you guys watching. I don't know how well that'll work, but we'll see. Oops, wrong one. Up here. We got to try to get it down through here. No, it's coming out there. There we go. Hey. That was easy. All right, so this is the part we put the bolt on up in there, and then we're supposed to pull it through here. So let me fish all the stuff on it there and see if we can get it to go through. All right, so take this thing, drop it over the top, and then this bolt threads on. I might need two hands for it. All right. So it just threads on there. It's like a spring. Anyway, hopefully this will work. Look at that. That's pretty neat. So there's the square part. Hey, nice. There we go. Now when we turn it, it locks. So there wouldn't have been any other way for this thing. Sorry, it's out of focus. There we go. So now we can turn it and it'll lock in. There would have been no other way for this thing to lock up in there and us get any tension on it. So that little piece is basically turned in there and cammed up against the side of the frame rail. And this does go in, so it's kind of deceptive, but it goes in that far. So that's how big the frame rail is. It's just right there. Anyway, I'll go ahead and do the other side. I'll leave this fish wire on it. They give you two, and then the spacer goes on the front. So there we go. All right, well, we've run into a snag. It seems that the power steering box bolts in here, and it basically comes into the frame, and you can't drop the bolt down through it. It like is blocked off. So we're gonna have to figure out something. But if you're doing this job yourself, just be aware. I don't know what's in here yet. but I felt around, and there is like a big tube or something that comes through. So I don't know if I have to take the power steering box down or not, but I'm going to try to fish the bolt out of there for right now, because I can't actually get it to move. Yeah, it's like stuck in there. So I'm gonna put the camera down. Something you guys might need to be aware of. All right, I'm gonna try to show you guys this, if you can even see it or not. Up there in that corner is a hole that you can fish this stuff into. This is on the driver's side. It's almost impossible to see, but it's right there in the front. So you can't do it the way that you did it before. There must have some tubes welded through here for the steering box to bolt through, so it won't just rip out. But right up here in the front, there is that hole right there. And with some finagling and some time and some cuss words, you can eventually get everything through there. So that's how you do it in the front without taking anything off. So with this fascia off, it would have been a lot easier. But, you know, I would have had to lose those rivets there, and I don't have anything else to replace those. And also, I would have had to take the bumper off because there's some what look like 8mm bolts up in there. So you can't get those things off. And that's basically what's holding the whole thing on. So anyway, that's how you get the driver's side on. You have to go in through the front, and it takes a minute. But that's how you can do it. So the other side is done. Yeah. All right, so on closer inspection, I was focused on this, and I don't think that this applies to an XJ at all. This must just be explaining like how to use a fish wire, but whatever. On this one, it does show the hole, but on the right side, the passenger side, I don't remember seeing a hole in that part of the frame. So maybe there is one there and I just missed it. I don't know. But it shows you, fishing it in, the way that I did it on this side. Although I'm not sure that the width of those little supports would even make it through the hole that's in this frame anyway without cutting them down like I did. So I'm not really sure. If you're doing this at home, you're just going to have to try to figure it out. Maybe it'll be easier for you. But essentially, that's the way that I did it, is the way that they're showing it here. Now we just have to replace all the hardware with this grade 8 stuff. Then put this spacer right here in the front. This thing, the frame rails must tip up, and this aligns it somehow. But anyways, we're in the home stretch. Presto! All right, I cut a few holes for the chain loops right there. So now we just have to basically put it all up in. I did cut this opening out a little bit bigger. I think it just looks a little bit cleaner. So, and I also forgot, it has the pin. It's got a hole in the side for the pin we have to account for. So I guess we'll just have to see. I don't think that I'll have any problems. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and start putting this thing in. All right, well, I didn't really get those things centered, but it's okay. It's good enough. Good enough for me. Anyway, looks pretty good. Pin's in a good enough spot. So there we are. So up in there, see how it attaches. Sway bar's on. I just have to basically attach the links right up there. No big deal. And everything should be good. And there you go, just 30 minutes and you're done. I don't know who came up with that, but whatever. So yeah, what do you guys think? Pretty nice? I mean, it doesn't stick out too far. Looks pretty nice. It's kind of dark in here to kind of see it, but I'll stick a receiver in there right quick and we'll kind of see what's up. Maybe I'll bring the winch in. Ah, there we go. That's one of the ideas. Obviously, you can put a receiver in it, you know, all day long. Pull stuff around. I think it's pretty cool. I got this winch with my car hauling trailer that I have to fix this summer. So it was essentially a free winch. It works pretty good. I used it last year for logs and whatnot, pulling them out. So all this stuff has to be wired in to the Cherokee. Currently, the brand new battery I bought for this is sitting at the frame shop in the F-150, so I can't put that in right now. But yeah, anyway, that'll all come in time. But it looks pretty good. I like it. Doesn't even sag the springs out very much. That thing weighs kind of a lot. I don't know, it kills my back. But anyways, yeah, looks pretty good. And there you have it, one front-mounted receiver hitch for a Jeep Cherokee XJ. Should be pretty useful, especially if you go out in the trails and stuff like I'm hoping to do this summer. If you need a winch, you know, stick the winch on it. If you need a receiver, you know, to pull something around or whatever, you got that. So pretty versatile, and that's what I was looking for. So anyways, I don't have an affiliate link or anything like that, so just, you know, search around online. You'll find a few companies make them. Other than that, pretty straightforward, no big deal. Go give it a shot if you've got a Jeep or whatever. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.